Hey, I'm Emma, and 6 months ago, I was dating this really cool guy. His name was Ronaldo, and he was just like Russell Brand. Totally off the wall and always saying crazy things, but also couldn't stop flirting with other girls. But that never bothered me because he said I was the only one for him, and I believed it. When he asked me to be his girlfriend, I was ecstatic, and we immediately moved together. But one day he told me his ex-girlfriend Laura had sent him a message. It said, "I forgive you for everything. I want to get back with you, and I can't live without you." I was glad he showed me the text, but I never expected what came next. He said he wanted me to be his first girlfriend, and he wanted Laura to be his second girlfriend. Wow! Any other guy, I would have said no, but Ronaldo was so damn charming, and I was completely addicted to him. That's why I agreed. I just couldn't bear the thought of being without him. And at least I was still the first girlfriend, right? Well, when Laura moved in, it was super awkward. She was gorgeous, just like a model, and straight away, I was worried Ronaldo would get bored with me and only want to be with her. But then Ronaldo introduced us to each other, and I don't want to go into the details. Anyway, you can imagine how crazy it all was. But then the problem started. Laura was always trying to get Ronaldo to tell me to leave so she could be alone with him. It drove me nuts. We were always arguing over how much time we would each have with him. Of course, Ronaldo loved that we were fighting over him. He always had a smirk on his face when we were arguing, and he always said, "Don't worry, ladies, there's enough of me for both of you." But then one day she accidentally put my colored and white clothes into the same washing load, ruining all my white clothes. I was furious. I stopped talking to her and did something very bad with her toothbrush, but I'd better not tell you what I did with it. But let's just say I did it more than once. In the end, none of it mattered, because soon after, Ronaldo broke up with both of us. He said he had to move on, but I knew he just grew tired of us. I was upset, but part of me was also relieved. I didn't have to deal with sharing my boyfriend anymore. But here's the thing about Ronaldo. I always kinda knew our relationship wasn't going to last forever. He's just not the kind of guy you settle down and build a family with. But still, I don't regret staying with him for as long as I did. He was always clear about what he wanted, never lied to me, and I had a lot of fun. If everyone was like Ronaldo, the world would be chaos. But still, I wish more guys were as free-spirited as him. It's so sexy, and life was never boring with him. Today, I still miss him, but I've already accepted that I'll never meet someone like him again. But that's life, I guess. You can't have everything, but luckily, you also don't need everything to live a happy life. I think that finding Mr. Perfect is impossible. Everyone has flaws. I know I do. I don't work out, I eat crappy food, I'm really grumpy first thing in the morning. So instead of worrying about finding the perfect guy, I'll look for someone who treats me well and who's interested in a serious long-term relationship.
Life's hard when you're a single mom. I fell pregnant when I was 16, and my daughter's father said he didn't want to be a parent so young. So he dumped me when I wouldn't have a termination. I dropped out of school when I had the baby. I called her Tamsin. It was tough taking care of her alone. She didn't seem like other children. She needed a lot of extra care. When she was 5, she was diagnosed with autism, which explained her behavior, but it didn't make things easier for me. I was 22, no college degree, no job, nothing. One day, I was looking through Craigslist for ways to make money. I found an ad which said, "Well-off 45-year-old male looking for a lady that likes to be well treated. We can start with coffee and exchange resumes. Your time is valuable, and I'll make sure you don't feel undercompensated. Hoping for a drama-free, mutually beneficial arrangement." It was obvious he was looking for a sugar babe. I'd never seen myself dating an older guy, but I was struggling to find work and still take care of my daughter, so I decided to send him a message, even though there wasn't a photo so I could see what he looked like. As I got ready to meet him, I felt really nervous, but I told myself it was going to be fine. I was doing this to build a better life for Tamsin. We met at a Starbucks, and he said his name was Mark. He was nothing like I expected. He wasn't 45. He was in his 50s and overweight. Still, Mark was easy to talk to, so although I wasn't attracted to him, I figured we'd get on okay. His 2 kids were grown up and he'd been divorced for years. At the end of our first date, he said, "We should go out for dinner. I know a few good restaurants." I still wasn't sure I wanted a sugar daddy, but I said yes anyway. The restaurant we went to was incredible. My food cost over $100, and it tasted amazing. It was a nice place, but Mark was rather boring. I didn't really want to kiss him afterwards, but I did it anyway. Then he flew me and Tamsin first class to Hawaii. We stayed at a beautiful resort. It was lovely, but he spent so much money on me. I kind of felt guilty, like I owed him something, you know? Still, at least my money worries were over. Mark and I started seeing each other, but he didn't want us to move in together. Instead, he gave me a condo in the city and just came by whenever he wanted. He paid me a $6,000 monthly allowance. He even bought me a Lexus. I gotta admit, I loved my new life. I sent Tamsin to a private kindergarten and started taking some college courses. Finally, things were turning around for me. We dated for 2 years until he suddenly dropped me. I think he started seeing a younger woman, but all he said was, "I'm sorry, but I'm gonna end this." I didn't argue. I mean, it wasn't like there was a ring on my finger, but suddenly I had nothing. I hadn't graduated yet, and I'd never had a job. Who was going to hire me? I was so desperate. I signed up for a Sugar Babe website. This time, it didn't go so well. I met up with this guy. Let's call him George. He was in his late 40s, and from the moment I met him, I had a bad feeling. I was too desperate to care though, so I started dating him. He wasn't quite as rich as Mark, but at least he gave me enough money to stay in college. But he was always demanding. I came to see him whenever he wanted, and he asked where I'd been if I didn't show up straight away. If I went out with friends, he'd get really jealous. I felt like he wanted to control me. When he gave me an engagement ring after just 3 months, I knew I had to leave before I was in too deep. I texted him saying, "Sorry, but it won't work out." George went nuts. He came over and tried to break down my door. I had to call the cops to get him to leave. Yeah, he was a controlling maniac. I should never have started seeing him. In the end, I took out a big loan to finance my degree and cover my bills. But it was worth it. Now I'm working in an office with a stable salary, and I don't have to rely on a man to take care of me. Do I recommend finding a sugar daddy? Absolutely not. It's dangerous. A lot of those guys are troubled and just want to control the women they're with. But maybe, if I was having money problems, I'd do it again. You just don't know what's going to happen.